You have 300 friends online. You know almost none of them. You scroll past their faces every day. You like their photos. You comment on their birthdays. But if one of them needed you at 3 in the morning, would they call you? Would you even hear the phone? Here's the strange part. Your brain doesn't know the difference between 300 friends and 3 real ones. It's still counting. It was never built for this many people at once. For most of human history, you didn't have hundreds of connections. You had a village, a tight, tangled web of maybe 150 people who knew your face, your voice, your walk from a distance. That number isn't a guess. It comes from real research and it explains something about you that you've probably never noticed. 200,000 years ago, you couldn't survive alone. No claws, no fangs, no fur thick enough for a cold night. Your only real weapon was other people, so you lived in groups, and as those groups grew, something had to keep up with them. Your brain. In the 1990s, British anthropologist Robin Dunbar started comparing brain size across primate species to the size of their social groups. He found that the bigger the group an animal lived in, the bigger its neocortex, the part of the brain responsible for thinking and understanding others. Social life might not have been a side effect of intelligence. It might have been the reason for it. Dunbar applied his formula to humans. Based on the size of your neocortex, he calculated the number of stable relationships a human brain could realistically track, not faces you vaguely recognize. Real relationships where you understand how someone connects to you and to everyone else around you. The number he landed on was about 150. Anthropologists now call it Dunbar's number. Hunter-gatherer clans throughout history hovered near this size. Military units from Roman legions to modern companies cluster around it too. Businesses that grow past it often report the same thing. Nobody knows everybody anymore, so what happens to everyone past that number? They become strangers with names. Your brain recognizes them, but doesn't build them a real map. There isn't enough room. Think about your own life. How many people would you actually call if something went wrong? Not react to online. Call. The number is small, probably under 20. That's not a flaw in you. That's the oldest architecture in your skull doing exactly what it evolved to do. Dunbar also found layers like rings inside a tree. About 5 people sit in your innermost circle. 15 form your close support group. 50 make up your real friends. 150 is the outer edge of people you'd recognize and treat as meaningfully part of your world. Beyond that ring, faces blur into categories, not because you don't care, because the tracking system runs out of room. Now hold that next to your phone. The average person today has hundreds of contacts, sometimes thousands. Social platforms didn't expand your social brain. They expanded the illusion of your social world while your real capacity stayed exactly where it was 200,000 years ago. In 2018, psychologist Jean Twenge studied loneliness among people who spent the most time on social media. More screen-based contact didn't mean more connection. Often it meant less. You were seeing more faces than any human in history and somehow feeling more alone doing it. Why? Your brain evolved to reward real proximity. A shared meal held eye contact. It didn't evolve to reward a notification dot. But the dot fires the same reward chemistry anyway, just enough to keep you checking, never enough to leave you. Psychologist John Cacioppo spent much of his career studying loneliness as a biological signal, not just a mood. His research showed that isolation activates the same threat circuitry your ancestors used to detect danger. A person cut off from the group had no backup, no protection. Your nervous system still treats disconnection like an emergency, even when the emergency is just an empty group chat. That ache you feel scrolling through 300 names and finding no one to call isn't weakness. It's an alarm ringing in a brain that expects a tribe and keeps finding a crowd. So what do you do with a 150-person brain in a world of infinite contacts? You stop mistaking width for depth. The 5 people in your innermost circle matter more to your well-being than the next 500 combined. Every real conversation you choose over a passive scroll feeds the actual architecture in your skull, not the illusion sitting on top of it. The tribe never disappeared, it just got buried under a feed. You have 300 friends online, but underneath the follower count, you still only have room for a village.